Today's guest is Steve Pope. So Steve is a firefighter that is trying to raise awareness for PTSD through golf. Steve, how are you? You okay?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So as I said, so you're a firefighter yourself, and basically what you try to do is bring awareness for PTSD that firefighters are suffering with, and you're going to do that through golf. So just tell us a little bit more about that. Tell us a little bit about your kind of backstory of how you kind of wanted to start to do that and how it's going right now.
All right. So I'm a firefighter in Kansas City, Kansas, middle of the United States, and been 26 years. So I've seen a lot of things that have affected me. Even if it's not that length of time, someone can be affected early on in the firefighting career with something they've seen. Having said that, to answer your question, so I started all this social media blitz in 2020 of January with the YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as my way of keeping this subject relevant. Someone can do a news story on me or something for the local news or the paper, and it's lost in a week. So this is my way of staying relevant to help my brothers and sisters in the firefighter profession. But not only that, it's grown into the first responders, and I'll get into that here in a second, how it's grown into that. But what led to it, Alex, was in 2017, a friend of mine that I play golf with just went through our peer support program. And we were out on the golf course, and that 40-hour program that they go through teaches them a lot to what can affect first responders, firefighters. And I was talking to him, his name's Ryan Johnson, about, I just yelled at my son and went off on him for no reason and not knowing why. So he goes, Steve, you don't realize what this job has done to you. And at that time, over about 21 years. And it started to put things in perspective for me and got me being more self-aware of how I was being when I came home from the job. And I started my own journey, which it took a while, obviously, to lead to starting all this, 3 years, but that's what started the process, was my own self-awareness. I use that word a lot in my videos. And so I started doing my own research in that time period. And I thought, how can I give back to my brothers and sisters, but also heal myself? And that was doing the social media stuff was one way I felt I could do that, to bring that awareness that needs to be out there every day. Because if I can help one person, I've already helped, I wouldn't say help, but been in contact with somebody from Australia that was a nurse. Wow. And in the army down there, and told me that it's real, and that, he loves what I'm trying to do, just like you mentioned. There's been a couple people from the UK that have contacted me that are firefighters. And obviously around the United States, they've contacted me, and I've helped people locally as well, in the sense of they've reached out and said, hey man, I love what you're doing. I love your stories because they're real. And that's all I'm trying to be, is real. I'm trying to be vulnerable, let people know that's real. The vulnerability is okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. You're not alone, and stay self-aware are kind of my mantras. So having said that, to where it's at now, I don't know if you have any questions now to ask and what I've said.
No, I mean, I was going to really jump in just to, obviously you mentioned the YouTube there and the social media, just so everybody can go and check that out if they're not already following you. So on YouTube, it's Firefighter Golf. And then on Instagram, it's Firefighter_golf. I mean, I was just going to jump in and obviously, first of all, say kudos to you. I mean, it's incredible what you're doing. And I was going to ask a little bit more information, but I'll let you kind of continue with that first and kind of finish off, and I'll jump in with the questions.
Okay. So for the people that know about golf, I had a local pro here in Kansas City reach out to me, and he saw what I was doing on social media, and it was just as simple as clapping on a hole-in-one he got at a local backyard golf course here. It's a 7-hole golf course. I have that video on my channel of me playing at that golf course. The connection with that golf course is dear to me because the guy that owns it, his dad owned that property, and he was a firefighter that I worked with. Well, his dad's deceased now, but Zach, who owns the property, built this backyard golf course, 7 holes, with his buddies. It's an amazing place.
Wow.
And I've taken some of my first responders over there, and they love it. Anyway, I'll get into more of that later, but he got a hole in one on this some guy's backyard golf course, and I clapped. Simple as that, with engagement. I mean, just like you contacted me, you saw what I'm doing. So it's been awesome networking with people. So we met for lunch. His name is Andy Fisher, and he's the president of the PGA of America's Midwest section. There's 41 sections across the country of the United States. And as you know, PGA of America, it hosts the PGA Championship. So, but they do their charity arms, and PGA Hope is the military side of what, as you can see my logo here, the First Responder Golf Foundation is doing now. So with his guidance, with his vision, he said, let's do something for the first responders. I love what you're doing for the firefighters, but let's encompass it for the first responders. I said, yes, I'm even willing to do stuff for the military with this too. But anyway, that's where it's led to me applying for the not-for-profit, getting approved by the United States IRS, and now I'm hosting my first tournament. Irony of you and me talking here, it's on Monday, August 9th coming up. So
nice. Okay.
It's the foundation tournament, going to raise money for what's called PAR events, which is Peers and Rapport, the acronym for golf with PAR. And it's just about, and I've hosted 2 of those events where it's just about getting first responders together on the golf course, playing golf, and then you have a meal afterwards. And you can talk about things if you want, but everyone that's coming to them knows why they're there. So it's been awesome getting the foundation going, kind of with the blueprint of the PGA Hope, like I mentioned. And that's, you know, COVID's kind of thrown a wrench into a lot of things with meeting with more of the PGA people, but eventually, hopefully we can get this growing across the country, around the world eventually, and help as many people as I can. So.
Awesome. So, I mean, I've got a bunch of different kind of questions and rabbit holes I could go down here, but trying to maybe talk a little bit about the problem itself first of all, then, so we can kind of relate, maybe, or people can relate to you know, your experience in it and what is happening. So the thing we're talking about people that are still in service normally as firefighters or first responders, or is it happening with people that maybe retire from the job and then are experiencing things after, or does it tend to be a mixture? And what sort of stuff is it, in your opinion, that is maybe causing this? Is it particular, you know, accidents that have happened during the line of duty, or is it something else?
Well, great questions there, Alex. I've even had a couple of retired firefighters come to my PAR events, and one of the videos on my YouTube channel has one of those retired firefighters talking about his problems from when he was on the job and the problems he does not have anymore now that he's off the job. And that was alcohol.
Okay.
He don't drink as much now that he's off the job. He barely drinks at all, he told me.
So he was drinking to cope with the job.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have that substance abuse problem. Now, my story, you can see some of my stories on Instagram and where I'm talking on video and YouTube. But my story to tell your listeners now is, you heard me talk about coming home and yelling at my son. Now, I was doing that to my stepdaughter and my wife, and sometimes interactions with friends. It's called irritability and anger that PTSD can cause. And what causes a lot of that, whether it's substance abuse or, God forbid, dying by suicide, is called allostatic load. So over time, all these things build up. Now, I've come across people that have told me their stories that, you know, they've, like you mentioned, an accident that they've seen has stuck with them mentally. They've had nightmares about it. I don't have those. I'm trying to tell my story. And if those people want to come on my channel or on my Instagram and tell their story because they might hit home with someone, hopefully that ends up happening. I tell their story like that, like I just told you, without telling their name, because that stuff might hit home with somebody. But he told me he got help. He recognized it early in his career. And the good thing about him is he was able to tell his fiance at the time, years ago, that I have PTSD and here's why. And she was able to understand it, and they were able to deal with it and have a good relationship. My instance was my family lived my PTSD. They were walking around on eggshells at home when I was at home for my 2 days off. Because in Kansas City, Kansas, we work 1 day, then we're off for 2 days.
Okay.
And so during those 2 days, she told me, I loved it when you were at work. Now you know, she told me that many times, but it never hit home until I started going through my self-awareness. And I've shared that story with social media, and had a local firefighter reach out to me here. His wife saw the video and told him, "That's you." And he contacted me, and him and I got together with this horsemanship program that deals with veterans and first responders, where you just get away dealing, and you train, you work with horses, let's say. So it's kind of on the same line of what I'm doing. Let's just play golf. Let's get away. Let's be brothers and sisters, and hopefully that helps using golf.
Yeah. And so in terms of the actual problem itself, then, I mean, is it something whereby, I mean, in terms of you raising awareness, right? Is this just to raise awareness in general, or is this about the fact that people maybe know that they've got this issue and they just are too embarrassed to kind of come out with it and talk about it?
Perfect question. Again, that's what it's about. You know, there's a mindset in first responder field that be tough guys, be tough gals, and because there's a lot of women in the fire service now, and they're just afraid to be looked down upon. So that's my mission. That's part of the mission, is just to bring awareness that it's okay to talk about it.
I imagine it's kind of like doubly difficult when, as you mentioned there, you in a role like a firefighter or a policeman or a police person, or, you know, in the army, where, you know, you're basically like an unsung hero, right? And then to show that weakness, it must be even more difficult than, say, just a general Joe Bloggs that works in the local, you know, store, because they're supposed to be heroes, aren't they? So it's difficult to then show that weakness.
Right. I mean, when we're at work, you know, we don't show that weakness, I feel. You know, we come back, sit at the table, we talk about the call, you know, we joke around. That's one way to get through what we just saw. We don't joke about the call. We just joke in general, poke at each other, have fun. And that's how we deal with it. But nowadays, in the last few years, we sit down and we talk about, and hopefully talking about it in a non-joking way helps us overcome with the process that's going through our mind. Because for me, with my story, it was, you know, my jaw would hurt, the stress. And again, I didn't realize it was happening. I didn't understand what was happening. So there could be those people out there that are going through the same thing. And me telling my story is, you know, that's me. When I get to the golf course, Alex, boom, I'd relax.
Yeah.
For those 4 or 5 hours. So,
I mean, you touched on a couple of points before in terms of maybe symptoms, I guess, of when it starts to happen. But for anybody that's maybe not as, you know, now knowledgeable about this as you, but maybe suffering, what would you say the normal kind of symptoms are then? What kind of warning signs should people be looking for that maybe work in these types of stressful jobs, where they're experiencing these kind of things that you guys do?
Again, I'll touch on the irritability, anger issues, lashing out to your loved ones is a lot of the signs and symptoms. You know, substance abuse, it drives them to that. Kind of isolating yourself from your family and friends, that's another sign. You know, there's a lot of good stuff out there for people to look up. And, you know, my mission at first wasn't necessarily to, here, go talk to this person. But through this journey and through networking with people like yourself and other people who have seen my videos at my golf tournament, there's going to be a couple of mental health places there that are going to be there for people if they need to talk, you know, because they know what they're coming to the tournament for. Well, here's these people, just grab a card from them, reach out to them later. So those are kind of the signs and symptoms for people that might be reluctant, or wondering, like myself, oh, I'm fine. I'm dealing with the stress. There's no stress in this profession. I love the job. And it's like, no, it piles up on people and they don't even realize it. Or like you mentioned, we mentioned earlier, you don't want to admit it.
Sure. So, I mean, obviously with what you're doing then, it's to try and, you know, meet people and talk about these kind of things while in a relaxed environment like golf, I guess. But I mean, if you want to touch on it, of course, and you can go into as much or little detail, but what was the kind of recovery process or the process for you that helped you deal with this and, you know, maybe not get rid of it, but live with it?
Well, like I said, with my buddy Ryan Johnson mentioning what he did about not realizing what this job was doing to me, and it made perfect sense, because there was I've been a captain now for coming up on 10 years, and that takes on a different role of stress, being in charge of people. And so that probably played a part. And I didn't realize it was causing those issues within the role of my family, some of my friends. So it led me to just start being self-aware. I read some things about PTSD. And one thing I did read, I know I used to always be demanding of my family, especially the kids. And, when I'm at work, if you get an order from someone, you do it.
Sure.
In that profession. And kids would question it. And I couldn't, and that's been a problem. I've watched a couple webinars with our local, not local, but nationwide union puts on these webinars. And I had a female firefighter talking about the same thing I am. And it hit home that she said she couldn't separate her work life to her home life. And so like I'm saying, I would bring that home and lash out at them. Mm-hmm. So what I read was, instead of barking orders at them, say something like, my son's name is Riker. I'd say, Riker, I'd like you to do this for me, because then it makes them feel like they're fulfilling something for you instead of an order. And so I just slowly started learning those things, and it helped. And, to touch on some other things, a lot of people have a past. And so my past is I grew up in an alcohol environment with both parents. They got a divorce, but then got remarried back to each other. So all that stuff played an effect with my PTS issues.
Sure.
And I've been going to counseling to understand how all that affected me and still affects me. So lately, it's just for a year and a half now, especially since I've started this journey and learning and talking to clinical psychologists and other people that have gone through the same thing. It's just been a healing process for me too. Not only the golf. When I play golf, I just got back from Bandon Dunes, a world-class golf resort with 7 guys, and it was just an amazing time. Mm-hmm. Using the game of golf to relax and decompress and reinvigorate back into everyday life. And so that's my goal, is using my love for the game of golf, because I coach high school golf here for the boys and girls in my local community. So I'm always trying to grow the game as well. And I know I got off tangent there a little bit, but
no, please do. I mean, it's an incredible story. So with the golf itself, then, you mentioned it briefly there. You're obviously doing these trips with other people, but what made you, apart from loving the game, what made you use golf as the kind of way to connect with people and try and be able to speak to people through golf? Was there something in that you think is helping these people? Is it, again, all being in a relaxed environment together on a golf course and people just chatting about their experiences and how they deal with it, or is there other reasons why golf is so good for helping with this?
Well, kind of a backstory again, why I chose to use golf and use the YouTube platform, because YouTube will branch out to the world. Mm-hmm. So does Instagram, but you have to be a follower and find me. And sure. But YouTube, people can just search it. They can do the same on Instagram, but Facebook's different. I can be private on there. But why I chose YouTube was because, being a golf coach, I try to find videos that might help each individual kid, because they all are built different and swing different. And I came across, I'm not sure if you know who GM Golf is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And good golf. So they live here near me.
Yeah, those guys that just did the hole-in-one recently. Matt, yeah. I forget his second name. Sharf, is it? I don't know.
Sharf, yes.
Sharf, yeah. Those guys are cool.
So I was on one of their videos, if you didn't know that.
I think I did see that. Yep.
And so they're from the Kansas City area. Now they live in Dallas doing their good thing, and they're good kids. But what that did, being on their YouTube channel, was put me in contact with probably I'd say a dozen first responders. And that's what I knew it would probably do. Just because of the reach that it got via their channel. Exactly. Wow. And I've been in contact with other YouTubers across the country, and I'm going to be trying to meet up with them, because I know it will spread the mission. The mission is the main goal. Any money I make off YouTube is going right back into the mission. It's going to help me travel. It's going to help me do what I just mentioned about playing golf with other YouTubers. So, if I make a good amount of money off YouTube and I can retire eventually sooner, that allows me to do this mission full time. It's kind of hard to raise a family and coach high school golf and still do the profession. But so that led me to thinking, I saw Garrett from GM Golf doing his videos, and it's just like, man, this is something I would like to do to spread the seriousness of PTS in the first, especially firefighters, but first responders. I have some police officer friends that I've talked to suffer from the same stuff. So that's what led to all that is watching all those videos from my high school kids, coming across GM Golf and Garrett's stuff, and just said, I think I can do that. Now, a lot of trepidation went into it, Alex. I didn't know how to film. I didn't know how to edit. So I had to learn all this stuff. But luckily, YouTube has videos for that. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I want to move on to that next a little bit in terms of the content. For those, again, that don't kind of follow you, what sort of content are you trying to put out at the moment with the golf? You know, I noticed, for example, you do a lot of just kind of match play situations where you played against other people. So what sort of content are you trying to put out there at the moment?
So, you know, when I first started, it was just about, I play with 3 or 4 other firefighter friends and another buddy of mine, Jim, who's been on the channel. That's been part of our group for several years. And so I just was putting out videos, and with me talking at the beginning or the middle about how real PTS is. So it's just, you know, getting the word out. And then as the channel grew and I'm watching, you know, GM Golf and Golfholics and other YouTube people, even, you know, Rick Shields over there and the guys over there, and, you know, trying to learn better ideas to keep people engaged, because ultimately, like I mentioned, I put a lot of time and money into this. If I could get any back, it goes back into the mission. So I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to film better with different cameras. And so there's the content as far as that goes. Now, I like to showcase golf courses, because I think I know when I travel somewhere, I love seeing a video on YouTube about a golf course. Yeah. And someone playing it. And so I try to do that as well. I've traveled. The Abandoned Dune stuff will be coming out in a couple of weeks. I'll be getting that out over a month and a half period of all their courses that I played out there. So it's about growing the game of golf, showcasing these golf courses, but having the matches like that. You know, I'm 50 years old, so I'm not, I love what GM Golf and Good does with the fun stuff, but that's not me. You know, I try to have fun with some of the content as far as the matches, but other than that, it's just about the mission and growing the game of golf too.
Yeah. What sort of future content have you got? Can we expect then? I know you talked a little bit about the trip you've just done. What other trips have you got lined up at the moment? What other golf courses, stuff like that, are you planning on going to?
Well, so this content will get me through the next like 6 weeks, and then I'll get some local stuff done again, and hopefully at my golf tournament, I'm giving away play golf with me on my YouTube channel for one of the people that want to have an auction for it. And it's going to be at the Falcon Lakes course that I play all the time. But, you know, it'll be a fun little, hopefully a firefighter or a police officer does that. And that would be cool to, if they want to be videoed and talk about their story. But Golfholics, I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're from San Diego. And the irony there is one of the guys I met from being on the GM Golf video has been out there, and he's a firefighter near Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. And I'm going to be going down to Atlanta eventually, hopefully, to do talk about what I'm talking with you, tell about the story and the foundation, and hopefully he can start a branch down there, if you want to call it, and be the ambassador for it down there and get it growing down there. That'd be cool. Kind of like what I said with the PGA of America having 41 sections. You know, I'm just gonna have to move forward without their guidance, because again, we haven't been able to meet because of COVID, and sure, PGA professional schedules are busy at these clubs. So that could be some content with him and I playing down there, and then the Golfholics. He's put me in contact with them. I'm eventually be on their channel, because I know, you know, their type of clientele are, you know, they're 40 years old, would be more in the line of watching and maybe follow my mission. And there's also, I had a Hollywood stuntman reach out to me. I had a video with him on my channel. His name's Kevin Durr. He's
Okay.
got his own channel now, but so you know who Dude Perfect is?
Yeah, do perfect.
Well, he has a friend who has another channel like Dude Perfect that has 8-9 million followers.
Sure.
But his friend Brian has his own golf YouTube channel called Exterior Golf. So they're in California, up near Hollywood. And I hope to eventually get out there and film with them because, again, that will bring more eyes to the mission and spread it to people that hopefully will see it and tell their friend who's a firefighter or a police officer and say, man, you ought to follow this guy. His story's real. So that's what it's all about, is hopefully, you know, we'll be doing some other traveling to. So my whole start of this was to travel and play golf with firefighters until the first responder part came along. Well, now I want to travel and play with police officers, firefighters, whoever contact me. So the goal of the foundation now is to, let's say a tragedy happens across the country, as the foundation gets out, you know, with help from someone like yourself, that I can travel and play golf with. Like, for example, here in the state of Kansas, we had a firefighter in a town that's 3 hours away die, but his crew brought him back. So he's alive. But that's traumatic to the crew. So hopefully, as it grows, I can contact their department heads down there and say, I'm going to come down and play golf with anybody that likes to play golf. See, and there's the problem. Not everybody likes to play golf, but you know, just come play golf, get away. I don't care how good or bad you are of a golfer. Let's just play and build camaraderie and brotherhood. And so that's the mission as it grows and more money comes in, is to allow me to travel and play with people that go through a tragedy, whether it's something they saw with a family member, you know, or a call that they ran, that kids dying in a car crash, for example, is never good to see. Just whatever it might be, because each person handles things differently. And then I can reach out and say, I'm here to play golf. I'll travel and the foundation will pay for it. Yeah.
And so for people, go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
I was going to say, or I'll fly people to Kansas City and put them up in a hotel. We'll just go play golf and have a meal and build brotherhood, sisterhood. So,
I mean, I think with things like that as well, it's just a snowball effect once it gets going. So yeah, I'm sure it'll soon take off. But just before we let you go, for people like myself then, or anybody watching this, anybody following you now that's going to start following you, hopefully, what can we do to better spread the word, to better help you out? Yeah, to basically raise more awareness for you.
Well, you are doing a wonderful job here having me on your podcast. That's gonna help immensely, I hope, even if it's, you know, to, you know, again, around the world, the UK followers that you have, I have a website out there for the first responder called firstrespondergolf.org, and there's a donation button through PayPal. So that's one way people can help, because that money goes towards the PAR events. And then when I travel to reach out to people, once that grows, like you said, the snowball effect, to help people that way, or travel to Georgia and speak upon the foundation and play golf with some firefighters down there, or police officers, whatever we can round up. And, you know, the hard part is getting people to admit or want to admit that they have a problem. There's where it lies. But to answer your question is, you know, I get off on tangents there because I love talking about it, and is the foundation website. You can donate that way, or anybody that's seeing this, just say, hey, to your first responder brothers, sisters that you know, go follow this guy, go follow his foundation, go follow the Firefighter Golf and the First Responder Golf Foundation stuff. And because I'll have some videos coming out, Alex. What I'm doing at my tournament is I'm not playing in it. I'm actually gonna be
you're just hosting.
So I'm gonna host, but I'm gonna play in a roundabout way. Okay. So on hole number 8 is a par 3, and it's only gonna be like 140 yards, and it's gonna be a beat the host gambling hole. And so each team that comes through, I get to meet them. I get to greet everyone, because I don't know everyone that's playing in the tournament personally. Sure. And I want to have a way. I'm going to have those. I'm going to have those mental health tables set up at that hole. I'm going to have the first responder shirt and apparel stuff there for sale. I'm going to have some challenge coins with the logos for firefighter, for first responder, and my firefighter golf on each side, one on each side, to sell, to raise money for the PAR events. And so I also have challenge coins made for the PAR events, with PAR on one side and then the logo on the other. And the only way you get those is if you play golf with me in one of those events. So that's what's unique about that, is
it's like
kind of
exclusive clothes, right? That's cool.
Right. So it will help pay for more of those challenge coins when I need them. But that hole is going to be fun because, you know, there's going to be a lot of activity there, and I'm going to make a video of the shots from each group, and whether, if they beat me, then they can either take the money they bet against me, $5, just real something small, or I have a table of donations that people gave me from, you know, local businesses here. Okay, if you donate, your choice, you get the $5, or you can go over there and pick a prize, which is gift certificates to a restaurant, or a sleeve of golf balls,
something golf related.
Whatnot.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's going to be something that, one, gives back to the community from these people that donated at these businesses, so people, you know, go to the restaurants and stuff like that. Or, you know, it's just a way for me to greet everyone and document it. So there'll be a YouTube video coming out on all those par 3 shots there like that.
That's going to be cool. Well, Steve, it's been a pleasure meeting you. Pleasure talking to you. I think it's incredible what you do. And obviously, if you can ever get over to the UK, you'll have to let me know. We can play around together and do some videos. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I've had a couple people reach out like that, some firefighters, and they'll say, well, it's probably a far-fetched thing to get over there, but you never know. Hopefully I can grow this whole thing and I can do things like that. And it's grown into something. I was gonna say, it's grown into something I never expected it would be, from a small little social media blitz to that pro reaching out to me to what it's grown into now. To me, it's pretty amazing. And I just love continuing to network with someone like you, Alex, and getting the word out. That's the main goal. Yeah, I mean, I can't see it failing. It's just like a snowball effect. Once you get in touch with the right people, as you obviously have done already with the YouTubers, the PGA, etc. And you know, why would they not want to help such a great cause? So I'm sure it'll be a snowball effect that will keep getting better. So all the best to you, and I really can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it grow more than it already has. So if I came over there, where would we play? Tell me where you want to take me. I mean, will it be your first time playing in the UK or the first time in the UK? It'd be the first time over there, yes. Ooh, I don't know. I think the obvious choice would have to be St. Andrews, wouldn't it? It would be. Yeah, that definitely would be. Whether we can get on the old course, I don't know. I'd have to try and meet somebody that can get us on there. I think it's very exclusive over there. Yeah, I was watching a show on that the other day, and how to get on and all that. But what they have, like, what, 6 other courses there, something like that on the property? Or yeah, on that particular area, I believe there's a couple. But yeah, under the St. Andrews name, there's quite a few different courses. I mean, any of them are incredible. But I mean, we've got a bunch of incredible courses here in the UK. Obviously in Scotland, we've got loads in England. I mean, Northern Ireland has some incredible courses. How's your link style play? Would you enjoy that style of play? Well, I just got back from Bandon Dunes, which is modeled. Yep. Which is modeled after that, and I just have to adapt. I adapted out there, okay, I think. So we had 30-mile-an-hour winds for 2 of the days, and it was kind of brutal. But hey, it is what it is. I would love to enjoy the culture because I've never experienced it, and that type of golf. So. Yeah, well, obviously, as soon as you come over here, you let me know, and I'll show you around, and we'll go for a round. Awesome. That sounds awesome. Incredible, Steve. So just once again, for everybody, if they don't already know who you are, it's Firefighter Golf on YouTube, Firefighter_Golf on Instagram, and just remind us one more time of the website where they can donate. FirstResponderGolf.org, which is the First Responder Golf Foundation's website. That'd have been too long of a website name to keep putting all of it there, but yeah. That's how they can donate, through a link. They can look at pictures from the PAR event that I had earlier this year, and continue to see it grow. As it grows, I hope to have links to mental health places that they can reach out to people. But my whole thing was just about bringing awareness at first. You know, I have no problem sending someone to get help to the people that I've come in contact with. So that's grown into something I never expected, but it was all about the awareness anyway. And that's what I
I hope that it's done.
Yeah. Well, Steve, again, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your story and your time, and we'll speak soon. Thank you very much.
All right, Alec, thanks for having me on your show, and I love you for doing that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you too.
All right, take care.
Thank you.